Yes, we are waiting our followers. I will be waiting for followers to start a great show today. We will be waiting for a few minutes for the followers to come. So it will be a very, very interesting talk. I think we will start in a few minutes. Yes. Yes. So today we have a very, very special guest, a legendary name from global world event and wedding industry. He's a legend by now, Colin Cowie, as you all know. He will be connecting us from New York. I hope there will not be any kind of a connection problem from New York. We will be connecting New York from Istanbul. Yes, Colin Cowie is with us. I saw his name. As you all know, Colin Cowie is one of the most sought after event and wedding planners in the world. He is also an author, a TV personality, and also he is a lifestyle guru. And we will be talking about the new definition of luxury weddings and events with Colin Cowie. Let's connect to Colin Cowie now. Yes, here. Yes, yes. Now we will be connecting in few minutes to Colin. Hi, Colin. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Very good. Thank you so much. It's so nice to see you. How is everything in New York? How is everything about you? Oh, wow.
Sunny day today. So we had a very grey winter, and it's very nice now to be enjoying a bit of warmth and some sunshine for a change.
Yeah. So how is it going with COVID-19 in New York? We are, hearing some news. Let's start with the news from New York. How is it going? Are they managing? The government is managing the situation. How is it?
I think that they're doing the best that they can do. Today is day 60 for me of being in quarantine. So it's actually exactly 2 months today. It's been a very long 2 months, and it's actually very surreal, you know. More than 20,000 people have died in this, and it's insane to think about it. But I still think that we're here for at least another 3 weeks. They're thinking that they might start to lift some of the lockdown on the first week of June. So it's a long time to be tied in one place, not easy. And I think we're getting
yes.
We're ready to move. We want to do things again. We're active people. We like to get stuff done.
Yes, remember it was just 2 months ago we were in Dubai together.
It's
unbelievable.
So interesting because I came straight from my wedding in South Africa. So I went from South Africa, straight to Dubai, and I didn't think we had a problem in the world. I thought I was coming back to a very, very busy spring and summer season with many, many parties, many events, lots of travel, a new TV show, working on a new book. And I came back and got locked up for 60 days.
Yes, unbelievable, unbelievable. So my first question will be about how are you managing those times? I mean, what are you doing? How, we are all locked in the houses, but we are still working like live shows. Yesterday, I saw your lovely live show in Instagram as well. So how are you managing those times,
I always believe in life we should always look on the positive side of things, because when the glass is half full, it's not half empty. So I've used the time very wisely. You know, I haven't sat watching television. I didn't put on 1 ounce, 1 pound. It's actually been such a pleasure to have downtime. You know, for the last 30 years, I've run around the world, 15.5 million miles, as in 3 cities a week. I was always going somewhere, doing something. This is the longest I've been in one spot in probably 25 years. So I've really, really enjoyed the time. I love to cook. So I've been cooking the most fabulous meals and the most fabulous dinners, which I've enjoyed. I get up every morning at the same time. I take my exercise. I do my meditation. I check in with my team. I'm Zooming everywhere. Right? Here you Zoom, here you Zoom, there you Zoom everywhere. And then in the afternoon, go for a walk, do something. I've been taking naps when I can, and then and cook a fabulous dinner. I've been in New York, but 1 or 2 weekends we were able to get out to the country very quietly.
Yeah. I see you're cooking. Yesterday you were cooking chicken, I guess.
Yesterday we did.
I will try it.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And what about your new book? Are you writing your book nowadays? Because it's, we are at home and...
Yes. So I'm writing a book, and it's very interesting because before the coronavirus, the world was very, very, very overcrowded and oversaturated. When you think about it, we don't need one more service. We don't need one more product. We have too much of everything. So the book I'm writing is it's a book about customer service and how to stand out in the crowd. What do we need to do? Particularly because all of us, we deal with the luxury market, right? And there's this much product coming down that's in development for the luxury market. But the consumer base hasn't gotten any bigger. It's the same size. So there's a very, very crowded space where there's far too many choices and options for the consumer. So the premise of the book is through customer service, proactive customer service, where I can create an emotional connection with you. I can buy loyalty. I can get you to come back again. I can make you a brand ambassador for me. You'll spend more freely. So I think it's an important topic. But the interesting thing is that the coronavirus is in the process of cleansing the pipeline tremendously.
Yes.
When we hear and we read what's going on with travel, press, and events, like 50% of the world's airlines will not fly again. That majority of the airlines will not have all the international routes to start with. Moving around the world is going to be a whole lot more difficult. You won't jump on a plane and go to Saint-Tropez for 4 days. You'll have to plan a proper trip.
Yes.
That 30 to 40% of our hotels and restaurants will not come back, because they just weren't able to stay open. And we also have very, very high labor laws here in New York. So I think as a result, there's going to be almost like a democratization in all of our industries, not right now, but in the next 18 months to 2 years. I think a lot of these big properties are going to change hands left, right, and center, which means it's going to be exciting. If we get to the other side and we do all the right things, we'll have a lot of opportunity.
Yeah. So you're also the one who looks for the opportunities at the crisis time, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So do you think the trends will change in our wedding world? What do you think? I think many things will change. Also, the weddings will change. What is your opinion?
I think that, Meltem, I think that everything is going to change. Everything. Every industry that we know has been severely and massively affected. And I think there's going to be almost like all these buildings come crumbling down so that there's more of a level playing field for everyone. That's why I used the word like a democratization of access to services and things that we never had before, because there's just so much product and the prices are so high. And then after 2 or 3 years of no rents and no support, these things are going to become affordable again. They're going to be forced to do it. There'll be some form of a bubble that's going to pop, and it'll make it more accessible for everyone. The one thing I do know is that the consumer always, our clients and customers always come back smarter. They come back smarter, better educated, looking to pay less money for more services. I've seen this with 3 economic downturns and 9/11 that we lived through. So I think we can be prepared for that from that point of view. I think that in every different city and country and county, there will be different levels of what they allow you to do and not to do in terms of entertaining and social distancing. And I've looked at some of these floor plans for a party with social distancing where there's 2 rows of arrivals, 6 feet apart, 6 feet. You stand on your X to move to the next one. Then you go into the disinfection zone and then into the mask zone and to the tables that are you're 6 foot apart from everyone else, where you have 4 people at a 7-inch round table. I am very reluctant to embrace ideas like this when I see, because it takes away completely from the human spirit and from why we do this in the first place. Why do we entertain one another? We need to ask ourselves that question. We entertain one another because we want to spend quality time with one another. I want to look in your eyes. I want to hug you. I want to share my glass with you. I want to drink and have appetizers and cocktails and have fun. And I think without that, entertaining is going to be very difficult and challenging. It's kind of more fun to go on a Zoom call and have a cocktail in your hand than be told you can't speak to someone, or you're standing too close to someone, you're standing too far from someone. I believe that this will change, over the course of the next year as we become more comfortable and we find better ways to protect ourselves. But I think nothing's going to come back. I think it's going to morph into something different. And there are those people who can't wait for love, because love doesn't wait for anyone. We know that love goes out of style. I think they're going to want to get married, and they'll have a social distancing marriage, and they'll do what they need to do. I've been advising clients, is it better to postpone it to next year? We'll have all a better idea of having all the bells and whistles and all the tools that we need to make for a quality party. Maybe just get a private ceremony now so that you're married, and then have a big celebration next year where we can celebrate the right way. I mean, can you imagine looking at your wedding pictures in 15 years' time, and your 50 guests are standing there with masks on, and you and your husband on.
Unbelievable.
Gloves on. I don't think there's anything glamorous or chic or fabulous about any of that. So I think we just need to go through the motions, realizing that we don't have events in 2021. And I don't speak only on behalf of myself. And I'm very friendly with Marcy Bloom and Lynn Easton and David Beam and Sarah Haywood and Brian Raffanelli. Our group, we speak every Monday from 4 to 5 p.m. And we share what's going on in our industry and in our businesses. And I would say that 98% of all of our work has been pushed to 2021. Yes. And I think it's, we have our destination weddings in New Zealand and in Italy. And I think that, first of all, a lot of people have lost their jobs. Many people won't afford to be able to travel. Many people will be scared about travel. And I think that because we are still in lockdown, many things have to happen, and have to happen in sequence before we can re-enter. If you look at it from our point of view as business owners, okay, we're in the business of having staff that serve and deal and take care of people. We need to do 3 things. The first thing we need to do is to create a safe environment for our teams and our staff to work in. We need to prove that we've taken all the right measures to make them safe and to make them secure. So in the offices, we do have social distancing, and we allow them to work at home with flexible working hours. They do come into the office, not to travel in peak travel times. And when they do get to the office, where are the sanitizers? What is the protocol around the kitchen and the bathrooms and those things? So we have to first do work to make sure that we have created a comfortable and a safe and a healthy environment for our teams to come back. Once they're back, the second thing we have to do is teach them the new protocols.
Yes.
That when we go out and we do things, that they know what to say, how to greet people. Right? The last thing you want is some waiter saying the wrong thing, or an account manager saying the wrong thing and sending up an alarm signal for everybody. So we need to give them the vocabulary, the tools and the skills that they need, and the education that they need around coronavirus, and how do we then educate that with the class? So then the third thing we need to do is, what is the product that we're going to deliver to the client? Right?
Yes.
What does that look like? We know that there's never going to be buffets anymore. No one's going to stand in line to eat food of a buffet that other people have been breathing over. I think we're going to get limited food stations. They've got a plastic screen around that you get one plate is made a la minute for you.
Yes.
I think have covers on them with a straw possibly. We're going to have to find all these things to do in the interim to get people comfortable to be able to come out, right?
Yeah.
So first thing, we prepare ourselves, then we prepare the team, and then we have to create, what does that product look like? In other words, what are we doing now to make the consumer comfortable? First, the way to prove it to our staff, then create the product. Now we have to prove it to them. And I think that once again, there are three groups and there are three ways in which people are going to re-enter. There are those people like myself who have been locked up for 60 days, and
Yes.
we would love to go to the country club. We'd love to make sure that they've set up a great environment for us that is safe to be out, where we can maybe go to a restaurant or go for cocktails or go to the beach club or something along those lines. And there's those of us who will do that. And then the second group are waiting at home to see
Yes.
the reaction of the first group. Right?
Yes.
So if they figured it's safe, it's healthy, no one got sick, it looks good, they were tweeting, they were Instagramming about the great time that they were having, group 2 will join group 1. Yeah. Group 3, not going anywhere. I think they're staying where they are until such time as there's a vaccine. We're not going to see them in public places. They're going to take extra precautions. A lot of people have health issues. A lot of people are predisposed. So I think they have to be extra careful. So I see that we have a lot of work to do ourselves to prepare for that moment. We have to prepare product for that moment. And we think of these things like, we're never going to hug again. We're never going to shake hands. No one's going to kiss on the cheek. It's going to be like the Jamaicans where you don't touch, right?
Yes.
So I think all these things, and once again, it's opportunity to rewrite a whole new script as to how to be and what's going to make us comfortable. And then I think we need to make sure that it's safe, and then it's up to us to glamorize it and to make it chic, right?
Yeah. Yes, you're right. How do you see the future of destination weddings? How they will occur again, since, traveling will be so difficult.
Well, I think that destination weddings have been the biggest trend for the last 20 years. More people have chosen to go on a destination wedding with a smaller group of people that they can spend quality time versus having 450 people, which is big for us, small for you in your town. So while I think there are such fabulous destinations around the world, I don't think anyone's going anywhere until such time as the airlines have proven to us that it's safe to get on an airplane. What are they doing to make sure that from the time I get out of my car, fly somewhere, get into the car, that I'm in a safe environment and I'm not going to be infected? So until such time as that happens, I think that destination weddings are not going to happen for a long time. And I think that for at least another 8 months to another year. And then also remember, with 50% of the airlines not coming back, you're not going to get the amount of choice of air options that you had before.
Yes.
So you're going to have to plan your trips carefully. And we also know that the cost of the airlines that are flying are going to go up and are going to become more expensive because they're going to have to get rid of 40 to 50% of the seats.
Yeah. Maybe the new definition of luxury will be feeling comfortable. What do you say to this? If I'm comfortable, I'm in luxury.
I think luxury is going to give you comfort, and it's going to give you safety. And I think we have to ask ourselves why, right? So if we look at this, if we take a little snapshot of the last 90 days, right? In the beginning, there was chaos and confusion. Nobody knew what was going on. Did it come from a bat? Did it come from a human? Did it come from a laboratory? You can get it this way, you can get it that way. We heard everything under the book. Okay? And then all out of the confusion and the chaos came confinement. And we were sent into confinement, right? And I think now, before we come out, we have to ask ourselves the question, why, right? Universally, globally, spiritually, there's a reason why all of this has happened. Think about it. It wasn't one country was chosen. It wasn't one continent that was chosen. Every single person on planet Earth was sent home. Okay? And we were sent home to sit and to listen and to figure it out. A punishment or some way to give yourself a realization. And I think we have to have the realization, what have we done to the planet to deserve this? Because I do hope that being taught such an important lesson, that this will stay with us. And that this will stay with us for a long time, and that it will guide our decision-making process. I believe that, for me personally, two things that I think are missing in our life is gratuity, gratitude, and humility, being humble. I think we move too fast, we take too many things for granted, we're doing a million things a minute, we don't notice the small things that are happening in life, we've given up on a lot of the niceties, it's become too capitalistic, we don't care for one another. I think there's a lot that will come out of this that hopefully will prepare us to be better versions of ourselves and to present a better version of ourselves.
Yes, you're right. Somebody asked about digital weddings. There are many questions coming up. I see them. One of them is, how weddings can be digitalized. Can we come to virtual weddings one day? What do you think about this?
I think that's what's happening today. You've got a couple who are getting married, and then they've got 50 friends who are Zooming. So, or screen sharing, or there's many different ways to be able to get your people. Or they've got a whole wall behind them that's a big video wall with all the screens of all their friends who are participating. They've either delivered champagne or a gift box or something to people's houses so that they can celebrate. But when you do something like that, it's half an hour, it's 30 minutes maybe, right? Maybe an hour. It's not like you're going to go and sit and have a 3-course dinner with people from 50 different houses tuning into something. I think you'll be there for the ceremony, to have a cocktail. We can mail things to them in advance. They can download a recipe. So yes, and a lot of this is taking place. A lot of fundraisers are still going on virtually. People are doing online auctions and things along those lines to keep philanthropy alive. But I think it's a very challenged way, and it's a very diluted way of what we do. So, it's going back to the very beginning again. Do you want to have a social distancing event where all your guests are wearing masks and all 6 feet away from one another? I don't think that is that exciting, right? Or would you rather be in a situation where you can have a ceremony now, however you want to do it, even with the civil court, you can even do them online these days. You can get married and then wait 6 months, wait 8 months, wait a year, and have a fabulous party where your guests are arriving and they're not walking around with the gloves and masks on all night long. I mean, I know in some areas, in some places around the world, that will probably happen until such time as we do have vaccines, until such time as we can provide safety and guarantee safety for everyone. So, as with a lot of this stuff, I don't think there's a crystal ball for any of this.
Yes.
We don't. And when I thought what I knew 60 days ago, when we were all thinking, oh, this is going to come and go as quickly as it came, and this and that and the next thing, we were all proved completely wrong. We all thought that we'd be in quarantine for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and this thing would live. Every time we've thought something, we've been taught that it's the wrong thing, and we've been sent back home. Like we thought we were going to come out, at the end of April. We thought that we'd go from the middle of March to the middle of April, and then it was the end of April. Then we thought, oh, maybe it'll be the 15th of May, right? And now we're finding out that it's going to be the first week of June, and that some things have been closed until Labor Day. So there's no crystal ball, and I think that we, again, are being forced to be patient. We don't, you need to think of this as a global war. It's the coronavirus, the global war against humankind. And we're not winning yet. The
You're
virus.
right. We are in an uncertainty, and what would be your advice to the people who are working in this business? How they can follow, to be involved in the technology, to be involved in the new era that's coming very soon. For instance, I'm participating to many kind of webinars or live shows. Trying to understand what's going on globally and trying to find a way for our business. So is there any advice for you for the wedding planners, event planners? What can they do, to follow the new regulations and everything?
Well, I think that since we aren't actively planning weddings right now and no one's walking down the aisle next week or the week thereafter, I think we need to use this time wisely, right? First of all, let's start with your business. Are you running your business as efficiently as possible? Have you done all the things in the last 60 days that you've been wanting to do for the last 2, 3, 4, 5? Have you gone through all those files? Have you sorted all the photographs? Have you updated your website? Have you been in touch with all your clients? Because the more people you're in touch with, when things come back, you want them to think about you first. So what are the fun things we could do, right? Find an image of the best party that you did for your client and have it made into a jigsaw puzzle and send to them for something to do, right? You could send with a fabulous gift or collection of teas or coffees or wine, the jigsaw from me to your family, something to enjoy a great moment or a great memory from the past. Or even just sending pictures of your great events with a wonderful note. Call your clients. Speak to them on the phones. Stay in touch with your creative partners. Start to talk about some of the creative things we're going to do, what you're looking for when you get back, whether it's color schemes or fabric, because we're going to have to stand out again. And we also realize that many of people in our business will not come back because they will not be able to hold on for so long. Sad as it may, but I think it's the reality of what it is. And then I think from running your business as efficiently as possible, we will look back in 2 years' time and think, oh my God, I was so lazy before. I did this, I did that, I did the next thing. I was spending this, I was spending that, I was spending too much money. I think we'll look back and figure out we've been forced to run better, more efficient, and smarter businesses. And then I think you need to look at and say, what can you do for your clients? Your clients might be having a sweet 16 where you want to do a virtual Zoom party for them and send care packages. It's not going to give packages to all the potential guests who will end up Zooming in or participating. We're going to make 10 cents on the dollar, right? Versus a banquet for 2,000 people with gorgeous flowers and florals and fabulous music and cuisine, right? So I think a lot of these things are band-aids that we do to keep us busy, to keep the teams busy, to keep us in front of our guests and clients. So don't think that this is going to be the year that you're going to retire. This is the year that slow and steady wins the race. That's what's going to get us to the other side. I think we'll start opportunity as of next year when it's safer and restrictions are lifted. And I think as more and more, a lot of properties are going to change ownership and a lot of businesses will change ownership. And I think that as we find this democratization of all industries as we know them today, there'll be great opportunity for everybody. But it's going to take a little while. And I think this is a very, very important and a valuable lesson that we're being taught right now. So we could complain all day long and say, how bad, how terrible, I've got no income, or we can figure out, what are you going to do with it? And how can you, what are the things that you can do to make you a better person? So that when we come out of this, we're running our businesses better, we're more efficient, we're more effective, and we're attractive. The website is free. You come up with new ideas. What are you going to do creatively? Start thinking about those things. Like, we know that in the Middle East, they do fabulous buffets and massive, incredible displays of food, right? So how are you going to do that How are we going to impress people with food and cuisine when we come back? Start to think about those things. Start to work with your creative partners and your vendors, figuring out how are we going to serve this. Go collaborate with the hotels that you've been working at. Find out what they're doing for coronavirus to keep themselves. Who can you collaborate with? And how can you come up with the safest package when you do come? Put all this information on your website. Anybody looking to hire someone should say, these people are on top of it. They look like they know what they're doing. They've got these principles. It looks like I should be speaking with them. So make yourself attractive by learning from what other people are doing. You can go online and you can see everything. Nanocept, which is a new covering that you can put on anything that disinfects it. So you put it on door handles and all the buttons for the elevators. There's all these new products that are rushing to the side right now. We're seeing customized masks and gloves and things. So these are all going to be the tools of our trade for a while. So figure out how do we make them chic and glamorous, and how will they be distributed, and how will we have a social distancing police? What will they wear? What will their vocabulary be? So I think these are all interesting things that we can start to do to think about what re-entry is going to be like. But the one thing we do know is that our businesses were running at 120 miles an hour and they stopped like that. Okay?
Wow.
They're not going to start again like that. It's going to be a period of a year like this for us to get there. It's going to take a long time for us. But we will get there. And we'll look back and say, oh my God, we did it. We're better business people.
Wow. I cannot imagine the first wedding I'm doing. Actually, by July, the weddings are getting started in Turkey. It's unbelievable. So the government said that the weddings can start, but of course there are many, many regulations about, we have to adopt these regulations. And still my first wedding seems to be in September. Many, many weddings have been postponed to 2021, but some of them are still waiting the new regulations. And I think there are 8 destination weddings that are going to happen in Turkey, but they are waiting. And I'm also worried about, for instance, our vendors. For instance, we used to have our flowers from Holland, how they will come, and how they will be put to our candelabras, how we will prevent COVID-19 virus from these flowers and from the customers. I'm just thinking about this, and I'm worried about vendors actually, because we are renting chairs, tables, many things are coming from different warehouses. Flowers are coming from our florists. So what do you think about the vendor side?
Again, you're going to pick the vendor who's proven to you that they have all the safety measures in place to set you up for this.
Yes.
So you see the facility and see how are they cleaning, how are they wiping. They wiping it down one more time when they're on the job site. What disinfectant are they using? They start from one side of the room and work to the other side of the room. The last thing you want is they're using a table that someone was coughing all over the night before. You think it's clean. You've gone to all your measures, and all of a sudden someone gets sick from it. You are as safe as your weakest link. Right? So you need to make sure that you're buttoned up and you're looking for opportunity everywhere to make it safer and as safe as possible for everyone. The restrictions that we have here in New York, at the moment, you cannot have an event for more than 50 people. When they do, not now. When they do reopen the hotels, no events for more than 50 people. In an elevator, a small elevator that's 6 by 6, 2 people at a time in the elevator. So if you're working at one of those fancy hotels from an old building on Fifth Avenue, it could take you an hour to get your guests upstairs at 2 at a time. When you start to think these things through, you start to see how difficult it's going to be because of all the parameters that have been placed in front of us for safety. And I understand that, in Istanbul and in Dubai and other parts of the world, they've not been affected as badly as we've been affected in New York and in the United States. We've had it really, really bad here, and I think as a result of it, our industries are still at a complete standstill. No one's talking about any events in 2021, in 2020.
Yeah. You're right. A lot of unknowns, but we have to look inside, and as you say, we have to find out ourselves to deal with this situation, as nobody has a crystal ball. But let's put aside this COVID-19. Many things will change, and we don't have any crystal ball, any one of us. Let's talk about your wonderful events and weddings you have done. You are a legend in our industry, dear Colin. Which one was the most, remarkable one for you, or which one you couldn't forget for years? Which one was the most meaningful one? I know that you have just newly married.
I can answer all of them and say it was my wedding.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I waited a long time. It's the first time I got married. It was the most amazing wedding. And I think it was the last big major wedding before the world shut down. Because I went to South Africa from the wedding.
Good timing.
Perfect time. I came to Dubai. A week later, when I went back to New York, it was over. It was done. If I was a week later, my wedding would never have taken place.
Wow.
But it was incredible because we had 175 guests were with us from so many countries around the world. It was from, I think, from like 20 different countries around the world. It was incredible. We were there for 10 days. So, and being that it was my wedding, and I had my entire team working on this for 14 months. Okay?
Wow.
It was laid in love with so many details. It was so much fun. And I wanted to use it as a narrative to do something different and to do things that were new and to do things that were interesting. So first of all, we took all of our guests on safari. And it was amazing. So we had guests staying in 15 different safari camps in one big game. And on the second night, we threw a party called Glamourflage. Come dressed as your favorite exotic animal. That were insane. It was unbelievable. And we did a real crazy bush party. And then the next day, we flew all of our guests with us to Cape Town. And then we did a series of parties and events and receptions in Cape Town with an outrageous beach party that was insanely fabulous. It was so much fun. And then we took everyone to Boschendal, to the winelands. And we did the family dinner and beautiful vineyard lunches and things. And for the actual wedding itself, the wedding started at 6 p.m. and it ended at 6 a.m.
Wow.
It was a fabulous party. And we told our guests to think that they were going to the Metropolitan Ball, so to get dressed in the best black tie possible. So the fashion was exquisite. And we were set on this beautiful, magnificent, massive lawn in front of the mountains and the vineyards. We did the Serpentine Isle. Naeem Khan, who I cooked with last night, for the fashion designer, did the most beautiful dresses in ombres, oranges and pinks. It was very beautiful. We worked with Jacob the jeweler to create jewelry for ourselves and for the family. And I did this incredible thing for the music. For coming down the aisle, Danny's Catholic, so I found a piece of the music, the Ave Maria, and it was all done to African drumming.
Oh, great.
So, 22-piece orchestra playing the music, and then the girl who was the first seat in the third row on the left-hand side, she just stood up and she started to sing the Ave Maria, and that's how we all came down the aisle. We came down in groups, not two by two by two. So wherever there was an opportunity to make an interesting statement of style and do something differently, we did. And we exchanged these beautiful bracelets.
Oh, nice.
On forever.
Beautiful.
So there's a screw there, so it will never come off. Okay? Versus instead of doing rings. We did a very glamorous cocktail reception, and then I did a fabulous dinner. And for the dinner, there was no dancing in the dinner, but we had the #1 concert pianist from Europe perform for us. We did the dinner with wonderful speeches. And then we ended with the 3 tenors doing opera. And then we went outside and we danced until 1 in the morning. And then at 1 in the morning, we built a nightclub. And we went into the nightclub and we were there till breakfast at 5, and then departure, some people left at 7:30.
Oh, wow.
Never forget it. It was
Beautiful.
the best week of my life.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So it was a perfect timing for the wedding as well. I'm
Yes,
so happy that you did it.
a very auspicious date, 02/22/20.
Oh, wow. Oh, lovely, lovely. So, your wedding was beautiful. I saw the pictures, the photos. I can feel it's your own wedding, and you know, you put all your beautiful feelings to it. It should be wonderful.
Nice, you know, I love Africa, and I never forgot my African roots. I was born in Central Africa, in Zambia, but educated in South Africa. So for me, it was such a pleasure to bring, I would say, of the 176, 120 people had never been to South Africa before. So
Oh, wow.
my home country, and to experience 4 different destinations and to travel with us for 10 days was insane.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So, do you have any tips for do's and don'ts? For I know because today many wedding planners are listening to us who couldn't be able to come to the conferences you were speaking there. Just some tips, do's and don'ts, and what they should be careful about after now. You know,
I think we need to, the do's, use the time very wisely, you know, not only personally, but professionally. Make sure your website is updated. Go through all your photo galleries. Stay in touch with all of your clients. Stay in touch with all of your vendors. Send fun little gifts if you can. Make jigsaw puzzles of the greatest events that you did for them and send them to them. Send care packages. This is a great opportunity to work with all of your vendors. Reinvent yourself. What is going to make you stand out when all this is over? Why is someone going to choose to work with you, okay, when all this is over? Not because you're chic and elegant and you've got great style, you know, but what are you going to do to make people feel comfortable? Right? I think that's a very important one. We need to prove to our guests and our clients and the people who use our services what we have done to set them up for safety and success, and at the same time make it elegant. And I think therein lies, and it's a small statement, but it's a very big action, right? What does food service look like? What does registration look like? What does seating look like? What does a cocktail reception look like? You know, are we going to have, we don't know these things yet, right? Are we going to have badges for the wait staff that says, you know, I'm tested, I've had it, I've got antibodies, I'm free and clear? Or at some stage there'll be a little pin that says I'm vaccinated. So we figure out, but there's a long journey between now and there, right? So we have to figure out, as we learn this information, how do we incorporate it, own it, and then make sure that the guest would understand what we've done to make them feel safe and secure. Everything today, human nature is fear, right? The moment we have fear, we tend to withdraw, right? And just as I was speaking earlier about the airline industry and what's happening in destination weddings, the airline industry needs to prove to us that they've taken all the right safety measures to allow us to get on an airplane again, right? Have they taken seats away? Have they created masking for us? What have they done to make us feel comfortable? Our clients are going to ask the same questions of us. What have we done to make them comfortable?
yeah.
It's also legally, right? Has anyone thought about the legal ramifications of this? What if the waiter says, I got coronavirus on your job, I'm going to sue you? What if the client says, I was coronavirus free and I got it on your job? But then there's going to be the argument, but yes, it takes 14 days for the germ to materialize, right? So I think there's so much uncharted territory, pardon me, that we still have to work through before we can get to the other side and find like a normal playing field. There's going to be a lot of hurdles and jumps and things before we get there. But you know what? We're party planners. We're event producers. We're production. We are tough people. We get stuff done, right? If you want someone to do something, give it to an event planner. We'll make sure it happens and it happens on time. So I have confidence that everyone who's on this line right with us right now on Instagram Live, will get to the other side and will be the and present and learn to present and be the best version of themselves and their businesses.
Yes. And some people say luxury will end, some people say luxury will rise. What do you think about how luxury, we should define the luxury again, I think, at post-COVID-19. What do you think? The luxury will change? And what will be the new meaning of luxury? What is your opinion?
I think luxury today, it's like a moving target, right?
Yeah.
Luxury used to be things that were inaccessible to other people, right? Then we thought that luxury was a product. It came in an orange box with a brown ribbon on it. We loved anything in an orange box, right? So we thought that luxury was these luxury products from around the world, handmade, handcrafted, that no one else had access to. I don't think that luxury is a product anymore. I don't think that you can buy luxury. I think luxury today is a state of mind. It's how I make you feel. Right? And I think today luxury is when what you smell, touch, taste, see and hear, all in harmony with one another, and you don't want for anything. That is luxury.
Yeah. So it will be a kind of an experience. We will,
It's an experience where luxury for me, for sure, luxury today is an experience. It's not a product. It's a feeling that I've gotten because you have orchestrated, our industry, okay, or a hotel or a resort or a spa. We have used the senses to orchestrate an environment that is 100% appealing to you, where you want for nothing. You have everything. So I think it's this untangible idea. Okay, it's not a product. It's not an airplane. It's not a private jet. Those are things. They're all over the place. Everyone has access to them today.
Yeah. So there will be many things changing, and we will open our eyes to a different world after everything will pass through. But I always say, all the planners, we are all survivors, we are just, we will survive. We will have new options for our customers, and as long as love will survive, the weddings will survive, of course, the events will survive, but we will have to offer new options to our customers, I guess, and everybody is trying to find a way for this. It's the time to listen to ourselves, to observe the world where it is going to. It's a different time. In a kind, I'm also happy, I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling very happy at home and, working from home. It's a beautiful time. We will always remember those times. And do you think the trends, there will be any change in the trends, like, maybe small and customized weddings and events will be more preferable rather than, here in Middle East, we do a lot of big events like 500, 600, 1,000 guests. Maybe now small, after.
Well, I think one of the big trends we're going to see is smaller, right? And there's going to be an era that we're going to be a time where they're going to start to get bigger. But between now and then, the big thing is safety, right? So our big trend is going to be, how do we glamorize safety? So maybe along with the invitation is a gorgeous decorated mask and a pair of gloves, right? And maybe a hand sanitizer. Maybe that's the kit. Maybe that's the new amenity kit that we give to everyone. Or maybe we have a creative party and we send people a mask and they have to decorate them in some different way according to a theme. The same thing with gloves and things. I think so. There could be very creative things that we do that we've never done before that are going to be part of a new trend, because everyone's going to want to have to wear a glove and a mask to get somewhere until such time as we're told we don't need them. So we just need to plan on having them, right? And I think we have to figure out these digital weddings, people who want to do them. I personally am totally against it. I just feel that what I love so much is the environments that we've created of bringing people together and putting people together in a room where they can hug one another and drink and cheers and celebrate and look in one another's eyes and dance. Right now, there's no dancing at any of the parties. None. It's forbidden. So the idea of a wedding or a party without drinking, dancing, dining with your friends the way that we used to, I think is a little challenging. So the idea from me, what I've been telling my people, if you really want to get married, let's do the civil ceremony now, okay? Do a small little Zoom reception for your immediate family and friends. And in summer next year, let's throw a fabulous party for 250 people and do a wedding reception or redo the wedding at that stage or that time. And I think because that's what's memorable. Imagine looking at your wedding album, okay, and showing your daughter in 20 years' time. This is mommy with the mask. That's grandma with the mask. All those cousins and sisters with the mask, you wouldn't recognize them without the mask, right? So, yeah, I think, we're going to be forced to work a lot more local. There were so many flowers that they just could not get out of Holland. I think something like 140 million tulips never made it to all destinations around the world. They literally died on the vine. The same thing in Ecuador and South America. You've got all these rose farms and all these flowers that are being farmed, but there's no airlift to get them out. So when the planes do start flying flowers again, the price of flowers is going to go through the roof. So if you've always dreamed on peonies for your daughter's wedding, you might end up with pansies or daisies or daffodils instead. So I think the other thing that's really interesting about this, okay, all of our local economies need money stimulus. We should be spending at home, in Dubai, in New York, wherever we are, and we should be stimulating and supporting our own economies before running into France, Spain, Italy, wherever else it could be.
Yeah, so we will be more localized.
I think we work with local chefs, we'll be working with local ingredients, we'll be working with local vendors. The world, as global as it used to be, I think has subsided for a while. That'll take a long time for that to come back again. And I think it's a smart idea to shop local.
Yeah. Yes, so there will be more options or more, we have to see the silver line. New things will be happening in our businesses, as you say. Some things will end, some things will start with the post-COVID-19, I guess. There are so many good comments for you. I don't know if you can read them.
I've been reading a lot of them.
Bob Conti is with us, and Susan Ertet says, thank you so much. Being married to our best friends is a gift from God. Very, very beautiful comments are coming. Susan is talking about June 30th, Marblehead, Massachusetts, 2001 wedding for the Lynch wedding.
That was unbelievable. One of my favorite wartime weddings. It was exceptional.
Yeah, it's lovely. Very beautiful comments. You have beautiful friends and fans, Colin. Here, both in Turkey and both in Dubai.
Turkey is one of my favorite places in the whole world.
I hope we'll be able to make a wedding here in Istanbul, Turkey, or Bodrum, when everything will come back with the new version, of course.
Of course.
I would love to work with you, collaborate with you.
Magical in Istanbul or Cappadocia or Ephesus or Alechita, Chechnya. I love all those places. I love Turkey. It's such an amazing family. I've been traveling with friends there.
We'll do for sure one day when everything will come with the new version, I'm sure. I hope we'll be able to hug each other, to kiss on the cheeks. I hope one day we'll do that, Colin. So do you want to add any, we have just few minutes for the 1 hour show. Do you want to add anything to our talk?
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of everything. I just want to say to everyone out there who's following us right now, hang in there, make the best of this, do what you can, be kind to yourself. I don't know when we're going to have this amount of free time again. We are all, just need to understand, every one of us is in exactly the same boat. Every one of us is living with the exact same challenges. Every single one of us has got the same hardships ahead of us. But I know that we are tough people, we are resilient people, we are creative and we're smart people. We will get through this, and we'll get through this. We'll look back in 24 months' time and think, I'm running my best business, I learned my hardest lessons, and I'm being the best version of myself as I can be.
Oh, thank you, Colin. It's always lovely to talk to you. You're so inspirational. Thank you so much for all the talk we had. Thank you so much for coming to our show, and I hope we'll come together like we did in Dubai as soon as possible.
Salah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Greetings from Istanbul, Turkey to you. Lots of love.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, dear. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. We are trying to